April 15, 1945. Southern Okinawa. Deep inside a dark limestone cave, Sachiko Nakamura clutches her 8-year-old daughter Yuki close to her chest. For 3 long weeks, they have survived on rainwater collected in rusty cans and wild plants that barely kept them alive. Hunger has hollowed Yuki's eyes, her ribs visible through the torn dress she wears. The fear of the unknown outside grips them with every sound. Black and white photo of a dark limestone cave in Okinawa. A mother holding her small child, worn clothes, 1940s wartime atmosphere, realistic, cinematic lighting, old film style. Instead of gunfire, a calm voice spoke in broken Japanese, Daijobu desu, tabemono arimasu. It's okay. We have food. In that instant, fear turned into confusion. These monsters were offering them chocolate, canned meat, and kindness. The simple act of giving food challenged everything they had been taught about the enemy. Okinawa in early 1945 had become a nightmare of hunger. 300,000 civilians were trapped between armies fighting over their homeland. Japanese soldiers took nearly all food for themselves, leaving civilians to scavenge through bombed fields and destroyed villages. Many went days without enough to eat. Children's bellies swelled from malnutrition while their limbs wasted away. Adults lost strength and hope. The elderly died quietly in dark corners of caves. Hunger had shattered communities. Families competed for scraps of food, watched their children slowly fade, and felt utterly powerless to help. When American soldiers finally arrived, they brought not bullets but abundance. Chocolate, canned meat, coffee, and chewing gum. Simple items, yet treasures for those who had nearly forgotten the taste of food. Their rations exceeded what most civilians could eat in a day, and they shared them freely. Little Yuki took her first bite of chocolate, hands trembling, expecting poison or trickery. But the sweetness exploded on her tongue, and disbelief filled her eyes. Children who had never tasted sugar before found joy in this simple treat. It became more than food, it was hope, kindness, and a glimpse of humanity amidst war. Canned meat, especially Spam, became another revelation. Families who had survived on grass and bark now received protein. Soldiers organized distribution carefully, ensuring each family received enough. Order and fairness amazed civilians who had grown accustomed to chaos, showing them that generosity could be disciplined and reliable. Children were taught how to chew gum properly and even blow bubbles. For a few precious minutes, they forgot hunger and fear. Laughter returned to faces that had known only despair. These playful moments, seemingly trivial, became symbols of resilience and the unexpected human connection between former enemies. Adults tasted coffee for the first time, sitting around fires with American soldiers. The bitter warmth of the drink sparked conversation and trust. Simple rituals like sharing a cup of coffee bridged cultures, softened fear, and created small moments of peace in the midst of destruction. Medical rations were carefully given to severely malnourished children. Soldiers and nurses ensured that nutrients were introduced slowly to avoid sickness. These meals contained vitamins, protein, and easily digestible foods. Week by week, children regained strength and color, showing the transformative power of proper care. As nutrition restored their bodies, children's spirits returned. Hair grew back, skin glowed, and laughter echoed through the ruins. They began to play like children again, reclaiming moments of innocence. This visible transformation marked the first step toward healing entire communities psychologically and physically. Sharing food also became a cultural exchange. Simple meals opened conversations, teaching Americans about Okinawan life and Japanese civilians about American customs and family values. Women learned new techniques while respecting tradition, building skills for survival and recovery. Civilians marveled at the abundance stored in American supply warehouses. Crates of canned goods, fresh produce, and treats stacked higher than they had ever seen. The organization and fairness of distribution amazed them. Scarcity and hoarding had dominated their lives. Now, abundance and order created hope. Children who received proper nutrition recovered quickly, while adults regained strength to rebuild homes and communities. Acts of generosity had restored not only bodies but morale, showing that even small acts of care could spark widespread recovery and hope for the future. As civilians grew stronger, relationships formed. Soldiers and villagers shared stories, laughter, and small comforts. Mutual respect and trust emerged, breaking the narrative of fear. Simple kindness bridged cultures and created bonds that would last for generations. Children learned to blow bubbles and giggle together, forgetting the horrors of war for fleeting moments. These small, joyful experiences were revolutionary, restoring a sense of play and innocence that had been lost to fear and starvation. families sat together with American soldiers, sharing meals they had never dreamed of. This act of communal dining went beyond food. It symbolized trust, safety, and the first seeds of peace after months. American supply trucks rolled into villages carrying food, canned goods, and fresh produce. Civilians watched in awe as crates were unloaded with precision. The scale of logistics amazed them, enough to feed hundreds of families at once. For people who had known scarcity, this was a revelation of abundance and organization. American personnel taught Okinawan women to prepare meals using both local ingredients and American supplies. These lessons were not about changing culture but about survival. Women learned to make nutritious dishes while incorporating traditional flavors, rebuilding community skills and passing knowledge to their families. With their bodies nourished, children's spirits soared. They ran through ruins, played games, and laughed freely. Nutrition had restored energy and curiosity, turning fear into joy. These moments of play symbolized the resilience of a generation that had survived unimaginable hardship. Communal meals created connection. Civilians and soldiers shared food, conversation, and smiles. Trust grew through these simple acts, breaking down barriers built by propaganda. The experience taught everyone that generosity and cooperation could transcend fear and conflict. A small table with chocolate, coffee, and canned food became a symbol. It represented mercy, abundance, and the possibility of peace. Civilians understood that enemies could be protectors, and generosity could restore trust and hope even after the horrors of war. Years later, the children who tasted chocolate and gum, the mothers who shared coffee, and the families who received food remembered these acts of kindness. These moments shaped generations, building bridges of trust and friendship between Japan and America. What began as simple rations became the foundation for decades of peace, cooperation, and shared humanity.